Hey, Dr. Tim Turlip here from Turlip Chiropractic. Welcome to your latest installment of 3 Minutes to Vitality, and hopefully I'll honor that and make it 3 minutes or actually less. So I really wanted to touch base today. One of the things that we actually are really excited all the time here at the office is about vitamin D and its activity in the human body. The research over the course of the last 10 to 15 years, as you know from previous installments, has been absolutely amazing and pretty exciting, and becomes a standard protocol here at our office to make sure everybody's vitamin D levels are optimized. We'll get into what that means in just a minute, but a new study was just published in the last month in a journal called PLOS ONE, PLOS1, becoming a pretty prestigious medical journal. It published one of the largest and most credible studies about vitamin D levels and, of all things, breast cancer. Right? Most people wouldn't think about vitamin D and breast cancer, but vitamin D is being shown in between 17 and 20 different forms of cancer to be exceedingly important in the prevention, and even once we get, God forbid, if we're diagnosed with it, the survival rates from that disease. So what the study looked at was 5,000 women over the course of 4 years. Now the average age of these ladies was 63 years old. What they found was this fancy thing called a dose-dependent response. And a dose-dependent response is really just a mouthful of words. That means that based on the amount of vitamin D that was in the individual's blood would depend on the response that they exhibited. So that being said, what does it exactly stand for? Well, the women who actually had the lowest vitamin D levels, all the way down to 20 nanograms per deciliter. And let's not get confused by the silly measurements and all these weird sounding words. Let's just call it 20. So they were down at 20. Which is actually deficient in some standards in medical journals is called normal, right? But the women who were there versus the women who actually were up at 60. So we get up to 60, what we find is a significant difference in the risk of breast cancer. So we looked at these 5,000 women, and the women down at 20 had one level of risk. When they got up to 25, the risk diminished by 14%. When they got up to 30, the risk diminished by 26%. When they got up to 35, the risk diminished by 42%. It was dependent on the level of blood, the dose in the blood, that's what it was dependent on, that exhibited the risk for breast cancer presentation. So what was remarkable is by the time we got up to 60 nanograms per deciliter, the risk for breast cancer was reduced by 82%. That's a remarkable finding. And this is one of the most credible studies that actually demonstrates this. And it is not the first. Many of the others have been deprecated and poo-pooed a little bit, but this actually is just significant. So the idea of this is one more reason why vitamin D needs to be looked at and optimized in our blood systems. We need to do a serologic or a blood test, which we do at the office very inexpensively, very simply, and with no needles, thank God. Right? And we make sure we optimize that blood so you too and I too can enjoy the benefits that optimized vitamin D can do that. So if you're a lady, it is absolutely critical that you have your vitamin D levels optimized, and dare I say, optimize them now. So until I see you next time, this has been your 3 Minutes to Vitality.